Hello, everybody. This is Chris. Welcome. Let's have some fun today. Let's do a brief review. Let's see. Let's turn everything on and we'll see what's what. Let me actually turn on my camera first and foremost, and then we'll see what's what. So, hello, everybody. This is Chris Bavin. You're the Photoshop instructor. This is the 26th of July, 2020. And today we're gonna focus on Photoshop, we're gonna focus on design stuff, no life and death situations, no philosophy, nothing like that, just Photoshop. And basically we're gonna talk about interpreting one specific brief. The brief is pretty interesting. It's a one-pager, so this should be a fairly easy contest. But as you're about to see, it's not all that simple. The brief is one of the better ones, I would say. It's fairly straightforward, but even then, you'll see it has loads of twists. So let's jump straight into it. We also have we have a mood board, we have some references and whatnot, and I'll do my best to tell you what's what. We're not actually gonna design anything because 30 minutes is not enough, but I am gonna tell you my thoughts and how I would approach it. I think this is going to be very interesting. So let's stop my ugly mug and let's actually focus on the screen sharing bit. Okay, there you go. Okay, so the brief is for a single page. It's for 250 euro. That's about $300 or so. And basically, we won't spend a lot of time actually going through every single thing here. We are gonna focus just a little bit on these sliders, but I really have to say something right from the get-go. Most clients don't know how to use these sliders, and that's actually the first thing I really want to talk about, because if we just take a look at feminine versus masculine, this says neutral, okay, plain as day. But then we have a look at the mood board and tell me, does this seem neutral? This is not neutral. This is actually 100% feminine. Now, is there any question about that? If you have any questions, please post it. Please post them in the general chat. But yeah, this is not neutral. And I understand that some may be a bit confused about it. So just raise your hand if there's any question about that. But this is 100% feminine. So this is why you should really take these sliders with a grain of sand. With a grain of salt, sorry, I think that's the expression. It's not accurate. And basically, we now move into the great stuff, the actual wireframe. So this is the actual wireframe. This is why I said we don't actually need to read every single thing in the brief, because this is the wireframe, and this is the second part. Let's actually combine them so we won't have any issues with it. The good old crop tool. Okay. Great. Fantastic. Great stuff. So this is the wireframe. Now, based on this wireframe, we already have quite a few designs submitted, 42 designs. Obviously, we can't see them. We have 12 designers participating, so these guys are pretty active. But this is those types of cases where I would totally jump in. I think this is the type of contest you have to participate in. It's true, it's not really all that straightforward in the sense that it's something about spirituality, it's something about psychological counseling and coaching. It's not all that clear cut, right? So this is something where I really wanna touch upon. I actually spoke about this in a private conversation. But basically, here's the thing. When you start out, when you want to focus on your craft, when you want to earn some money, when you want to win some money, the best thing that you can do is to participate in contests where the business is very straightforward. Be it a dentist, a lawyer, whatever, a mechanic, a restaurant, whatever that is, an e-commerce store and whatever. So those are the types of projects where I feel that you should really jump into. The other side of the coin is blockchain, for example, right? Can you do me a website on blockchain? What will you write? Do you know a lot about this topic, or the cryptocurrency or whatever, or the machine learning, right? So or something really corporate, something that you have no understanding whatsoever, whatever. Again, machine learning is one of the best examples. If you don't understand the business, then you're very likely to fail at the design. That's basically because you're very unlikely to create a beautiful design with loads of lorem ipsum or with photos that are really generic. Because again, if you don't know what the business is all about, then how can you choose an appropriate photo, right? Whereas, when it's a dentist, for example, it's really straightforward. It's really easy because if you ever had problems with your teeth or whatever, you just Google something, and then you see loads of websites. You have something to compare with. You can take some headlines and some inspiration from their content, right? So you basically know what to use. But if you go for the brief that's really abstract, obviously you won't know how to do that. Now, the key here, the problem in this specific situation is the fact that most clients, I have to say, I'm very opinionated on this topic. I'm really, you'll see, I really have some strong opinions. I really feel like most people, what they do is, clients, what they do is they're like a person you hang out with, and they're hungry, but they're not really sure what they want to eat. So that's how most contest holders actually write their brief. So what do you want to eat? It could be pizza, it could be sushi, it could be Chinese. I could go for the salad, something lighter, but a burger sounds good as well. Basically, they're undecided. That's the thing. So briefs in general, they're just wishful thinking. They're just some random thoughts from the client. Most clients, they have no idea what they want. And let me actually share my screen yet again so you can see why I'm telling you that. There you go. There you go. So yeah, let's have a quick look here at the brief yet again. So the brief asks for the header that's 400 pixels in height. Now obviously this is a wireframe, right? You shouldn't take it exactly like it is. But what happens is, if the logo is in this type of position in the center of the screen, you usually have to give it loads of space. And this is what one of my premium students did. And obviously a header that's 320 pixels in height can't work. It won't work. I've seen more unicorns than websites that actually look great when they have a 300 pixel tall header. It's not something that can be done, right? It's not something that makes sense. In modern web design, this is a complete no-no. So this is why I feel like clients have no idea what they're talking about, and this is why I said I'm so opinionated. Most of the time, clients don't know what they want. They don't know what they want until they see it. And I think actually Steve Jobs said something about it. I'm not a huge Steve Jobs fan, but I'm pretty sure that he says something along those lines. That people think they want something, but you actually have to build whatever you think is best and then show them, and then they'll fall in love with it. And I think this is a prime example. I think having such a layout makes absolutely zero sense. There's loads more to say about it, but in short, this is the essence. Don't trust the client. But then you may ask, okay, Chris, but if we don't trust the client, then what are we supposed to do? Well, that's the problem. That's the tricky situation, right? Because you're left in between two difficult places. You either completely disregard the brief, where obviously you may get eliminated right from the get-go because the client may just say, hey, you didn't follow the brief. What's up with that? Or on the other hand, you follow the brief to the letter, to the T, and you end up with a bad design like this one. Now, the problem is, if you really stick to the brief, this is what all these other guys are gonna do as well. All these 42 guys. Well, 42 entries, 12 guys. So that's the choice. You do realize that if you follow this tall header and this area right here with 6 boxes, everybody else is going to do the same thing. Well, let's not say everybody. I would say probably about 90%, right? Maybe 80%. Let's just say most of them, right? So then again, you have this choice. Are you gonna do what everybody else is gonna do, basically trying to decipher what the client said in that brief, trying to decipher what he rambled on, or are you just gonna completely disregard whatever he wrote here, whatever he chose here? Because again, it's completely random at times. It's completely random, and you know why? Why I'm telling you this? Because I participated in almost 400 contests, and I've seen briefs change just like that. You read a brief, and then after the day, after the client sees various entries, he changes his mind. All of a sudden, he doesn't want a neutral design. He wants a feminine design. So then this is extremely infuriating, because what you're basically trying to do as a beginner is you're trying to make sense of this brief, which is coded, which is, vague and whatnot. You're trying your best to make a design that matches this description, but the problem is you're assuming the client knows what he wants. So again, this is the tricky situation. It's, in a sense, it's sort of like dating. It's like dating in the sense that obviously you want to be assertive as a man. You want to be confident. You want to approach a woman with confidence. You want to make sure that you're yourself, right? That you're straightforward, that you're honest, that you're powerful, that you're confident. Again, I think that's the key word. On the other side, you don't want to sexually assault someone. You don't want to be too forward. You don't want to be too aggressive, right? So that's the key here. It's a game where you feel like you could easily go wrong. It's the same thing in the design world. If you're too aggressive, if you completely disregard the brief, you might get eliminated, and that's that. On the other side, if you're too passive, if you don't take the reins, if you follow the brief 100%, what you're gonna do is you're gonna create 10, 20, 50 entries, and bit by bit, you're gonna go from 2 stars to 3 stars, and that's about that. And then at the end of it, the client is basically gonna pick a design that's basically, they're all gonna be the same. Give or take, right? 20, 30%. What I'm gonna do, what you're gonna do, it's gonna be just about the same, right? Very small differences. So then that's the question here. Are you gonna be aggressive, but you may be too aggressive and you're gonna be eliminated? Or you can try and please the client by reading what he or she wrote. But again, if you're too aggressive, you may just be eliminated, and that's that, right? Case closed. Then you know, okay, that direction is not good. But on the other side, if you're too passive and you really try to follow this brief to the letter, you may get hung up 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, at least 7 days, right? Entry after entry after entry. And you're never gonna feel like you're making any progress. You're gonna get stuck at 2 stars, maybe 3 stars, but you're never gonna get 5 stars. What the client is gonna do is he's gonna use you as a puppet, basically. He's gonna say, okay, do this, do that, then do this, then do that. Basically, it never ends, right? And at the end of it, if you're lucky enough that the client actually gives you whatever, let's say a 10-point feedback list, right? A 10-point list, do this, do that, do that. Okay, you're gonna do all of them, and you're gonna be proud. You're gonna think, okay, man, I'm gonna win it, right? Because I did everything that he asked for. He asked for those things. Okay, I don't think this header is actually all that great, but he said it. He said that he wants it. He said that he wants the logo centered. He said that he wants whatever, a picture of his wife in the header. If that's what he wants, that's what I'm gonna give him. I wanna win the money. So what do I care? I don't think it looks good, so I'm just gonna do whatever he wants. You're not gonna win. That's the thing, because again, all the other designers are gonna act in the same way. All the other guys are gonna do the exact same thing. So that's why I think in this specific case, not in the relationship world, I think you should be more aggressive. I think you should take the reins, and I think you should take this approach. Hey, I read your brief. I saw what you wanted. Here's what I propose. I have some experience in this field. I have loads of experience in this field, however you want to phrase it. This is what I think works best. I think the logo should be placed in the top left side, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then basically what you should do is you should make 2 or 3 arguments in your favor. Something like, this is a better experience, this is a better browsing experience, this is gonna get you more appointments or whatever, right? So you really have to make sure that you don't just design something and you throw it out there and that's that, because the client may say that you maybe submitted the wrong design or something. So you have to defend your choices. You have to make sure you explain your choices, and those choices have to make sense for the client. But again, it's really simple. You can really just focus on a few things. This is going to get you more business. This is going to improve your social media presence. This is going to get you more appointments, whatever, right? So this is how I would approach it. Again, I'm not saying that all clients have no idea what they're talking about, but I would say, from the 400 contests that I've participated in, I think most of the time, yeah, they have. It's not that they're clueless, but it's much better to use your experience. I think you know more about how the website should look than they know, right? Now, having a quick look, for example, on my website, right? So, for example, this is my business, right? Now, if I want a redesign and you have some experience in e-commerce, you're probably going to do a better job, assuming that I'm just a simple client, not a designer myself. Now, if we're talking about SEO, if we're talking about the blog, where we need to write various things about the business, about whatever, about the benefits, about how we prepare the products, about whatever, this is not a place where I would hire someone else. This is not a place where you could go all cowboy, all YOLO, right? So content creation is one thing. There you really have to respect the client's wishes. The client knows best. The client knows his business, right? But on the other side, if we're talking about web design, how the website looks, how it functions, how people are supposed to use it to actually make a purchase or whatever, then you're the expert, right? So now let's focus a bit more here on the design side. And let me tell you right from the get-go that overall this design isn't terrible because my student is awful. It's terrible because basically my student followed the brief. So let's break it down. Again, this is impossible. There are various studies that I should have prepared, but I didn't prepare, where using the logo in the center of the screen is confusing to most users. It's something clear cut. It's not up for discussion. There have been various A/B tests done, and basically it's clear cut. It's night and day. Don't put the logo in the center of the screen. Put it on the left side. The shopping cart, always 100% of the time on the right side. So these are axioms. Is that the word in English? These are not up for debate. These are rules that you should not break. Okay, so that's number one. The second thing, I'm not sure what this is. I think this is supposed to be a headline, an H1, something that describes the actual business. This should not be here. This should not be here. This should probably be in the hero section. Now, the hero section is way too small. Should I try and reposition some of these things? Not really, because it's not going to look nice. Even if I get the PSD, it's not going to look nice. Because again, just as a side note, some people say, okay, Chris, why don't you take the design and make it better? Because making a design better is all a matter of tweaking small things here and there and making it gradually better. It's not from upgrading it from 5 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. It's not done in one fell swoop. It's 0.2 plus 0.2 plus 0.5 plus 0.2. So bit by bit, you constantly add on and the rating increases. That takes time. That takes at least 2 hours, especially if we're talking about a broken design, a design that doesn't make a lot of sense. So again, I won't be doing all these redesigns because unless you want to spend at least 3 hours with me, it won't make that much sense. And more importantly, leaving aside the design execution, the most important bit is making sure that obviously the design fits the business. And to actually make sure that you understand the business, you have to read up. You have to actually browse around various similar websites, read up and see whatever. Understand what this means, because I don't know what these things mean. I don't know what hypnosis is. Actually, I do know what hypnosis is, but I'm not gonna get into that. But let's just assume that you have no idea about what these things are. You have to make sure that you read up, and based on that, you can actually make various design decisions. You can make sure that this image actually makes sense. Because if you don't know whatever this is, again, think of blockchain or machine learning or whatever, and you just use random images, then obviously the design is not going to be right. Imagine my website, with oatmeal or whatever, but instead of oatmeal, you place, a woman smiling. What sense would that make? None. So you have to make sure that you understand the business and that you use appropriate content, right? Now, going back to the design. So the header, much, much smaller. I would not use this lip right here. I would not use this drop shadow stroke, whatever this is. I don't think it's the right fit. I'm at 100% zoom level, by the way, and I think this is probably 12 pixels. That's a major no-no. If you want to use such a small value, you have to enable caps lock. So I think this is very much needed to be in all caps. I think the active area is not set up correctly. Let's have a quick look. This is what? Oof, this is 900 pixels, I think. Yep, this is a pretty big execution mistake. You should be more cautious about that. Again, your active area should be 1200 pixels, and it's easy as day. 1200. You center it, and then you use your guides like that, and then boom, and that's it. So there's no excuse for that. This is a design execution problem. This is a pretty big mistake in terms of your execution. So please be more cautious about that. Use 1200 as the active area. Again, this needs to be much bigger. And the section color brown doesn't make all that much sense. But speaking about the color scheme, this color right here, this green or whatever this is basically probably taken from here. I think you actually got inspired from this place, and you then probably went over the color picker somewhere around this region. But even so, I don't agree. I think I know what this particular owner wants. It seems like it's a woman. She wants a calm look. She wants a website that evokes a sense of calmness. And obviously beige, some very light browns may work in your favor, but you still need an action color, right? You should stay away from hot pink, from, neon green and whatnot, because obviously that doesn't suit the business. But again, the business wants sales, wants appointments. So this type of button, whether it's this one or this one, does not get the job done. So I really feel like initially when the client first sees, whatever you use here, whatever, let's say it's blue or whatever the hell you're gonna use, whatever this is gonna be, something, whatever. She may initially say, okay, the color scheme is not to my liking, but this is where your couple of paragraphs should come into play. And if you can't write anything in Design Crowd, because I think that's one of the issues, it's simple. Just do something like this, put a circle right here, make it red or whatever. Type tool, come on, Photoshop, work with me. One, whatever. Obviously center it and whatnot. And then obviously you submit two designs. You submit one clean design, and you then submit another one where you have some type of section here that explains, all your points, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? That explains your choices. So something like whatever, neutral, okay. And then you write here, 1, I chose this color scheme because of XYZ, right? So you can submit a second design with your explanations just in case you can't post your comments. So let's see what else. Let's see what else here. So this is way too small for my taste. Okay, the content here, This should be left aligned. This is yet another execution mistake. You should be more, you should pay more attention here. This is not cool. Okay, so this is a pretty big mistake. Let me actually make medium thumbnails, well, actually large ones. Now, okay. Contact is not good because again, you have two calls to action here. And why is that? You either make an appointment or you contact. I don't think, I'm not a big fan. You should have one specific call to action, and that's make an appointment. That's it. I don't think, and I think actually the client really nailed it here in the wireframe. You can see contact, contact, contact. This is just one call to action. It's not several calls to action in the sense that they're different. It's one thing, make appointment. You have to really nail that that message all across the board. And I think I actually use it in my landing pages as well, just because it's such a solid choice. Let's see, let's have a quick look here. So we have the purchase button here at the top, and then another one here, and then another one here, and then another one here. It's also fixed at the bottom right here, and another one here. So this is really standard stuff. You have to use it. It's really something that I really feel like it's a must. Going back to the design, this section, this is actually, I love it because these are the type of things, when I was freelancing, when I was doing these design contests, I would love to compete against my student. Because again, what people do, what beginners do, and even, you know, medium people that have a decent experience, so not complete beginners, but intermediate users, they see this area and then they do something like this. And this is so easy to overcome. This is so easy for me to create a better section than this one, because again, you're forced in that mindset where you think, okay, this is what the client asked for, so this is what I should do. No, no, don't do it. Don't do that. Instead, do whatever you see on various design sites, right? Fire up your Google, look for various beautiful websites, see how they arrange it, and it really doesn't matter. It can be, you know, left one photo on the left, one photo on the right, and then some content or whatever. It doesn't matter what layout you choose, but what matters is that it looks great. Does this look great? No, but even if you chose the right colors, right? Even if you didn't opt for this stroke, which doesn't make any sense, you shouldn't use this type of stroke. Gray strokes are out. They're very 2005. Even if you made the title and whatever, even if you executed this perfectly, it still would be probably 20% give or take better or worse than all the rest of the guys. Because again, this is what you're failing to see. You have competition. You have loads of competition actually, and there's 4 days left. At the end of the day, there's probably going to be at least 100 designs. So if you execute something based on the brief and it's only 20% better or worse than everybody else's, how are you supposed to get ahead? Basically, what you're doing is, by following the brief, it's a lottery basically. It's a lottery because at the end of the day, the client is going to look at whatever 20 designs that are decent, that have followed her instructions, and it's going to be a toss-up. You don't really know if she's going to choose you or not until the very last moment, and that can be after 7 days, 10 days, 15 days, and you're obviously going to be heartbroken because you put in that effort day in and day out, and again, this is the way where your soul is going to get crushed. By following the brief so closely, by following this specific thing, this is on you. This is your fault as the designer, because again, you know, at the end of the day, assuming the client knows exactly what he wants, obviously this is a good representation, right? You can't expect the client to actually create a detailed, intricate wireframe, right, with a great layout and whatnot. No, obviously he's gonna create a few squares and that's gonna be it. It's up to you to decode it, to actually make it look great. So again, I think this is a problem on your end, right? And it seems like we also have a website, some inspiration here that doesn't matter in the slightest. And again, this part right here, it's sort of similar to what I just showed you, right, on my website, right? So she basically just wants leads. She wants sales, this specific client. Um, okay. So again, a big execution mistake. This is, I think, in the second pillar of master web design in Photoshop. You should use enter. You should break it up, right? You should leave some reading space. As it stands, this is a wall of text. Nobody is ever gonna read it. So I think, leaving the brief aside, this is not gonna get you more than 2 or 3 stars, because basically the title is not very clear. I'm not really sure why you chose 2 titles. It should be only 1 title. And fact of the matter is, you use the same photo as you did here. And again, one of the most important bits, leaving aside the wall of text, what you need is impact. And obviously, the easiest way to do that is to use strong, powerful photos. Your photos aren't all that interesting here, but even if they were interesting, they're far too small. This is why most designers use full width photos, large photos, saturated photos with a beautiful font, something like Josephine Sands or something like that. With the right contrast, choosing a photo that provides enough contrast, that's how you make that impact. That's how you make a lasting impression, right? Where here, it's not there, right? Even this photo, is it great? Is it? Well, you might say it's pretty good, it's pretty decent, but here's the thing. I think that's, where is it? Look, everybody, all your competition, everybody's gonna use the same thing. So because of that, you can't really expect to make loads of progress. I think actually Photoshop froze. Did it freeze? No, just small problems. You basically, again, you took the wireframe and you made it 20-30% better, but that's it. So because of that, unfortunately, I don't think you're actually gonna make a strong progress. So my advice is the following. First and foremost, make sure that you understand the 3 pillars of web design. You really have to go and watch those things again. Make some notes, because again, some rules are not meant to be broken. 1200 pixels active area, that's it. Respect the active area, that's it. There's no discussion about it. Break up your text area into lovely paragraphs. Let's see if there's anything else. This place right here. No, you're killing me. Don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Don't rely too much on lorem ipsum. Don't make your website feel generic. Your job as the designer is to make sure that you impress your client. If you use lorem ipsum everywhere, or if you use rectangles, blank rectangles like these ones, you're never gonna make a great impression. It's like, inviting someone to your house and it's messy all over the place. And you could say, hey, you know what? The place is actually beautiful, but I didn't tidy up. But you knew I was coming. Why didn't you tidy up? Yeah, well, just imagine it being clean, right? Because it's a good place. It's a lovely place, but just imagine it, right? Because that's your job as my guest. You have to imagine it. That's your job as the client that pays me. Just imagine beautiful photos. I didn't spend the time to actually search for those photos. I didn't research your niche well enough to actually come up with some text layers or some headlines. I didn't spend time looking for enough inspiration that I could at least steal, not come up with original content, but steal some content from similar websites. I couldn't be bothered to do that, but please give me your money. Right, so this is not a knock on my student. This is not a knock on anyone, the client or whatever. It's, again, I'm very opinionated because, again, I've struggled with these things myself for a number of years. So when I actually made the freelancing course, or when I made Master Web Design in Photoshop, I really concentrated all my experience, all my frustrations, and everything I've learned and applied to actually win design contests. And I've packaged it in my courses so you don't make the same mistakes. So the reason why I'm all fired up is because, again, I think, not listening to my advice regarding, again, breaking up the content, setting up the active area and whatnot, not using a clear, bright photo. Because here's one thing. Again, what did I say about the color picker? This should be something, this is exactly like the line height. If I ask you right now to write in the general chat, what's the formula for the correct line height? If you don't know it, get out of here. Get out of here and look at my courses. If you don't know how to size up, so let's say we have a text layer, right? We have some lorem ipsum here, right? And I'm not sure what, let's say it's 18, right? I'm not sure what size I should put here, what value I should put here. Well, if you don't know it, then you haven't watched my courses, and you should not ask for my advice. You should not ask for something that's already mentioned in the course. You should all know that it's what? 18, the font size, times what? 1.5. This is the correct line height, and we can obviously approximate it to 28 just in case we want an even number. This is the correct formula. Then use it. Then use it. Don't try and do anything else. Use the formula, right? And again, I have another thing where I talk about the color picker, where I talk about how you should choose colors. Did I say that you should go in the left side? Nope. I said you should stay in this particular spot. And it's really easy to understand why that's the case. Because again, you want to make a button, you choose something like this, whatever, and the client then says, okay, this is not to my taste. Not a problem. You simply go here. And as you go down, just about all these colors can work. If the saturation and brightness are high enough, this is great. The hue can be adjusted, because as you can see, as I'm going up and down, the hue is adjusted, but the saturation and brightness, they stay the same. So as long as you nail this position right here, obviously you could go a bit lower down or a bit higher up, but you should never go for something like this. This is neon red, this is neon teal or green or whatever. You shouldn't go that far up. So I said this specific area right here, right? And again, if you nail it here, every color is gonna look nice. And more than that, it's gonna give you the right contrast for your text layers, right? For white. So this is really gonna stand out. This is gonna make for a beautiful call to action. So I wanted to talk more about the brief, but there were various execution mistakes that I felt we really had to address. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at the general chat in a moment and see what's what. My advice, jump on this project. I think it's a great one. Disregard the brief completely. I mean, really, it's up to you how you want to die. If you want to die on your sword, or if you want to die, whatever. I'm out of metaphors. My advice, that's how I would do it. I would YOLO it. I would freestyle it. I would, everything or nothing, right? I would not waste my time doing something that everybody else is gonna do, because I won't stand out. I won't be able to make a good impression. I would rather YOLO it, create a different color scheme, create a different layout, upload it, and see what the client says. If he doesn't like it, not a problem. I'm actually probably gonna create 2 designs and submit them one after another. So I'm not even gonna wait for feedback. Submit one and then immediately create another one. A completely different layout, a completely different color scheme, and then let's see what's what. Right, so that's how I would go about it. Now let's see. Yep, font size times 1.5, that's the line height. Okay, if you had to set a number for the flat color area, what would be the number sequence? I have no idea what you mean, sorry. Then you can scroll the colors up and down on the... I don't have any particular numbers in mind, but I would say at least 70, I think, 60, 70, something like that, saturation and brightness. Right? It really depends, because some colors may work really well with a brightness that's about 50 or so, but I would never go anything under that, right? Because if you go way under that, it doesn't pop like most clients like to say. It really doesn't pop. So something like this, okay, it provides great contrast, but it doesn't stand out. It doesn't catch your attention, especially because right here it does catch your attention, but that's because we have loads of neutral colors. But if you actually use some very bright colors in your photos, some illustrations or whatever, that's not gonna pop. So yeah. Adobe software, is it expensive for beginners? It's actually free for 7 days, and then it's €12 per month. It's extremely cheap Photoshop for 12 euro per month is extremely cheap. It's hard to put into words how cheap it is and how much value you get for that thing. Because again, that's the biggest thing. How much value are you getting? Because it's the same thing with my courses, right? You get whatever, $12 or whatever you buy it on Udemy, and you get whatever, 10 years of experience and whatever, 10, 12, 15, 20 hours of my content that took me 4 to 8 months to create. So this is why you over deliver if you want to make your clients happy. So that's what Adobe did. 12 euro is a fantastic deal, and 60 euro for all the programs, for the Adobe Audition, for the Premiere Pro, for After Effects. That's fantastic. For the Adobe XD and whatever. That's fantastic. Any other questions in the chat before I go? Because we're at 40 minutes and this is getting a bit long. I was again quite opinionated. I actually drank a cup of coffee before, so that maybe helped. But at the end of the day, again, what really matters is you approach every project with loads of energy, exactly like I'm doing right now. Because again, even if you're wrong, even if you mess up, even if you don't actually win, at least you gave it your all. At least you didn't waste time. I think that's the worst thing, when a client just drags you along. And what was the deal? I think most clients really know that they're not gonna award you. You're not gonna be the winner, but still they want to get that free work. You know what? How about you make whatever, make it black, make a night mode design. How about that, Chris? See what happens, right? So I really feel that's sometimes the case. I think some people, they just string you along, and I hate to be just brought along for the ride. I hate to make it to the finals when the client has no intention of actually choosing me as the winner, even if I actually do everything that he wants. Because again, that's where the frustration really comes into play. The frustration comes into play where you do exactly what the brief says, where you follow his feedback to the letter, and you still don't win. Because then you feel it's not fair. And what happens is someone like me completely YOLOs it, completely, freestyles it, completely disregards the brief, creates something different, and then you lose the contest, in front of me. I win the contest in front of you, and then you sit back and say, hey, but it's not fair. That guy didn't follow the brief. He didn't follow the rules. That's the game. That's the game. Right. Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you so much again. 43 minutes. This is a bit long. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you on Wednesday, and we'll talk more about this and that. Thank you so much. This is Chris signing out for the moment. Have a good one. Bye.